Hello again. Welcome back. This is part 2 of a two-part top 10 of 2020 list. The link for part 1 is in the description. And here are my top 5. As I said last time, these are in no particular order. And all items on this list are my opinion only. I'm not pitting them against Rotten Tomato scores or other critic scores or anything like that. They're just movies that I liked so much that I recommended them to people after I saw them. So that's the high bar that they all have. Okay, so with that being said, moving forward. Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems, directed by Johnny and Benny Safdie and starring Adam Sandler. It's a crime drama, and that is way out of my wheelhouse, but I gave it a chance, and after seeing it, I am definitely one of those folks that said it should have at least have gotten a nomination for Best Picture at the Oscars last year. We should reward Adam Sandler when he does good movies with the hope that maybe he'll stop making Adam Sandler kind of movies. Anyways, it is tragic, it is dramatic, it's a perfect sibling film to Punch Drunk Love, in my opinion. And this is the kind of film that we would all like to see more of from Adam and these directors, like in the future. Maybe they can collaborate, hopefully. Here's to hoping. Number 4 is Prospect, directed by Zeke Earl and Chris Caldwell, starring Pedro Pascal and Sophie Thatcher. I liked this movie so much that I already did a full review about it. Link in the description. So it's a treasure hunt in space. And once again, since I'm bringing your attention to the link down in the description, hopefully all of my thoughts, rambling as they were, I'm still progressing. It's all on a learning curve, folks, with regards to just talking about movies on the internet. But all of my thoughts are in the actual review that I have posted about a few months ago, actually. So Prospect, number 4, moving on. The Art of Self-Defense, directed by Riley Stearns and starring Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. Sometimes you join a martial arts school, sometimes you join a cult. Word of advice, look into the school you're joining. Okay, make sure there's nothing shady, nothing weird. This was a dry martial arts, martial arts comedies are rare in and of themselves. This was a dry martial arts comedy that had me either shocked or laughing out loud. While I was watching with a buddy of mine, the comment was made, "I love this movie," while laughing. So there we go. That should say enough. It is kind of on the extreme when it comes to violence. So I will put it out there if you're if you're a little bit shy with regards to this should be just a fun little comedy. It's about Jesse Eisenberg learning how to protect himself and toughen up and whatnot. Just be aware. It's rated R for many, many reasons. Very valid reasons. And number 2. Now we have Superman, Man of Tomorrow, directed by Chris Palmer and starring the voice talents of Darren Criss, Ike Amadi, Ryan Hurst, and Zachary Quinto. Now, this was released as a direct-to-Blu-ray, direct-to-DVD release, but this is one that I wish had the opportunity of, being shown in theaters. I'm not as big of a fan of Superman in the DC universe as I am a fan of Batman. But if this was the very first Superman movie that you saw, then this one would be you would want to watch more media about Superman. I very strongly believe. I think that if this had had a theatrical release, like this was always slated for home media, but if this had had a theatrical release, I strongly believe it would have almost been. I have to put that caveat, to try not to go over the top with this. It would have almost been as popular as Wonder Woman 2017, and I feel very secure in saying that. This is one of those, like, it's too easy too often to fall back on it's Superman versus Lex Luthor, but Lex Luthor is going to use all of his evil schemes and his money to try to outdo that Superman. But Superman, he's super strong, so he'll always find a way above and beyond these problems of mortal men. They're kind of a dime a dozen. So, I mean, before I go on like too long about this particular entry, like I said, this would have been a boost for the DC. Even though it's animated, this would have been a boon to the DC media for a theatrical release if it had a theatrical release. So, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. And finally, that leads us to the number one. Number one was The Wolf of Snow Hollow, directed, written, and starring Jim Cummings, and co-starring the late great Robert Forster. Now, this was the last. This is a New Year's film. There's a Christmas and a New Year's movie, so yes, it had that going for it. And I saw this December 31st. I was going into it completely blank, but it was just so I'd heard buzz about it, and so I was like, why not? Horror is not really like my thing, but hey, why not? And I came across this, and I'm so glad that I did. I really hope that Jim Cummings, at the very least, because I don't know as much about. He did a great job acting in it, but I don't know if he chooses to go forward with acting. I hope he's very successful because he did do a very good job with his character. That being said, he intimately understands the character because he wrote it. So there we go. At the very least, because he also directed Thunder Road. I did not see Thunder Road, but it has also received its fair share of acclaim. So I'll give him after seeing this, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This is undoubtedly, a great feather in his cap as far as getting more notice for being an independent filmmaker and hopefully breaking on into more projects, possibly getting them produced and sponsored in the future. We'll see. So, but I think the best roundabout way to describe this, or even begin to describe this, is that it should go without saying that a murder investigation is no time for a complete mental breakdown. And yet, okay, The Wolf of Snow Hollow, there are a series of grisly killings, and this small sheriff's department in Utah is tasked with solving them. And John, aka like Jim Cummings, a series of grisly murders could not come at just the most inconvenient time for him. And without giving like too much like away for it, watch it. Even if you are not into horror, thriller, mystery, comedies, give it a chance. Give it a shot. I'm not necessarily someone that watches these particular kind of genres, and yet I'm glad I did. This was the very last film that I saw of 2020 coming into this new year, and the next 2 days I was watching it back to back with my friends and family, and everybody that I showed this to loved it. So yeah, The Wolf of Snow Hollow. That rounds out my top 10 for 2020. As I said before, the link to part 1 is in the description below. If I came across something that you enjoyed, please tell me what you enjoyed about it. If I missed something that you said, well, this was my top 10, okay, I'm not shunning anything, I'm not trying to push anything away necessarily, but, let me know what was your, what a few entries of your top 10 films that you saw this last year. And yeah, I don't know. Thank you very much for, joining me, as always, here on Movie Ninja, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.